If you eliminate the first 6 minutes of the third quarter, I feel like, we gave up a couple threes to end the half, and then we came out flat and we turned the ball over 6 times of our first, I think, 7 possessions, and not forced, just trying to sling balls around and not make simple passes. And when we broke them down, I mean, we shot 56%, and we got to shots. Good things happened. We got fouled, and so I think it's about 40 minutes, like respecting the game enough to make the right plays to, and it got a little crazy there at the end. I'll take the credit for that because I was trying to get Sarah that triple-double, and she just made the foul shot. We would have been fine. But I think before then, you just can't sling the ball around against teams. I thought that team, they play so hard at the defensive end. They fly around, they trap, they're ready to move. You think you've got a 2-on-1 on the backside, and they really scramble well and don't make it easy. They make you work. But if you make them work side to side, then eventually something pretty easy opens up. But you got to get it to that point, And so we just tried to do too much without looking at the rim. Like when you look at the rim, when you attack, that holds hands. It gets feet ready to guard. And when you're driving sideways, they sit on those passes. And I just thought, there in the early third, Jamie and Jana both, just never squared their shoulders to the rim. And it showed, So, but I thought, we made some shots. We did enough to win the game. And now, it's a much-needed break. We were down Jaden, so we were down a ball handler that we're used to having. Kate was pretty banged up and didn't practice the last 2 days, so super proud of her effort and what she did for us. And, Sarah had to go a long way, not having, kind of Jaden. And you had to keep 2 ball handlers out there. You could never just get her out because you just felt like you needed 2 ball handlers all the time. So, yeah, too many turnovers. But it was that stretch, it was the bad stretch. And the crazy part is you turn it over 20 times, and they had 8 points off turnovers. So we did a good job of covering ourselves, but our rotations weren't good defensively. We've got to get back to really dialing in when we come out of the break of what happens when they drive down the lane line, who's rotating, how do we get, to the helper position, and because we just weren't good. And as we got tired, we got worse. So, I mean, we definitely have a lot to work on. Certainly hopeful, She dealt with her shin issues last year, and do I think she could have gone today potentially? Yeah, if we were playing for a Big 12 championship, but we weren't. So, knowing she went all 40, on Sunday, and to take 3 days off and then have 5 days off, it just was the right thing to do, and for her, and long term for this team.
You mentioned Sarah flirting with the triple-double. I mean, she just seemed pretty dialed in today.
She needed to be. I mean, honestly, with the pressure that they put on and not having Jaden out there as a secondary ball handler, it was hard for me to take Kate out. I mean, we really struggle in that high post when she's not in. And she wasn't perfect. I mean, it's crazy to think that she only had 2 assists, but she's confident with the ball in the high post. Our freshman post players aren't. They're just not confident when they get it in the high post, and people start to congest them. It doesn't mean that they don't eventually make the right play, but it's nerve-wracking. When it goes in, I mean, they forget to square up, and just playing big and strong. And so, she becomes, to me, always that third ball handler that you feel like has a chance to throw over the D, where the rest of our ball handlers really need to play under. And we lofted way too many balls up. We got to learn to attack and play under and around, and not try to play over people all the time, because we made some really poor over-the-top decisions. But I will say that team does what they do well, and I thought they broke us down even at the offensive end and missed some shots. I mean, we gave them some easy stuff. We were better in our ball screen coverage in the second half, just switching everything because they put 5 people around the perimeter. But because of that, they were a tough guard for Kendra, you know. So, you know, that was a challenge for her that she needed to be able to switch and guard point guards off ball screens because we didn't want to give up the 3 on a pop. And so at the end of the day, there were things we did well, but you know, we certainly could have been better.
Obviously, like you said, Christmas break now, good, good for y'all. What was kind of just the message to them as y'all separate?
Yeah, and I mean, it's been the message for probably the last 24 hours is don't start your break early. You know, we need to play a good 40 minutes. And I felt like at halftime they were heading off on break, the way we started the third quarter. But really the message in the circle was I was proud of them, but, like, don't go home for 5 days and do nothing but eat Christmas cookies because you're going to feel it when you get back if you do. I mean, they need time off. They need time to spend with their family and enjoy Christmas celebration. But they also can't afford to not move their body, even if it's walking, if it's getting a few shots up. Like, you know, it's amazing how rusty in this game you can get after 5 days, or you can lose your wind. And so I think that's a big part of it is, you know, they've got to do something, you know, so that they don't come back and want to throw up the first practice we're in. Merry Christmas.
Extremely important. I think for us, obviously after our past game, you know, we never like to go into a little break with a loss. I think it gives us confidence, especially coming back and going into the Big 12 play.
Coach was trying to get you a little triple-double there at the end. I mean, you were real close. You know, what was just working for you today?
I think, you know, I played with the Arizona game in the back of my head. I used it as motivation, and I knew I was best when I'm downhill. And, like, today I was just like, you know what, go out and play as hard as you can, and the results will show.
Speaking of, being your best, I mean, I feel like y'all are, for either one of y'all are at your best as a team when you're sharing the ball, which you do well. I mean, you know, is that sort of the identity of this team, like unselfish and that kind of thing?
I think we're really big on that kind of extra pass, going from good to great. I think we've always been that way. At least Coach Nikki and our staff has always been that way. I think this team does a really great job at sharing the ball, and what's great about it is that you have people like Sarah, Jamie, Jaden, Kat, like so many people that can attack the basket and kick it, and then it automatically just makes it so easy to make the one more and to put teams in rotation. And I think that's why we've been able to be so successful at sharing the ball and getting so many people to score on the court.
So, Sarah, where does this team kind of take its game to the next level? Where do y'all still need to kind of get better?
I think, you know, turning the ball over. Sometimes we turn the ball over trying to be too unselfish, and we looking just to pass everything, and sometimes nobody's even in front of us. I think that's a huge part of our game that we got to clean up is just the turnovers, really.
Y'all looking forward to a little time away for family, Christmas?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Yes.
Yeah,
It's a good
Coach
mental break.
mentioned, obviously don't go home and just, eat cookies and that kind of thing. I mean, do you have, you guys are veterans. I mean, you have, a plan?
Yeah, I got a plan. I mean, I actually probably, you know, I'll work out all the way up until probably Christmas Day, and that'll be my break, and then it's right back to it when we get back.
Yeah, I think when you get a little bit older and you're used to this kind of thing, it's weird almost not doing something. Like, I mean, even on off days that we've already had, it's just, it doesn't feel the same. Like, you could still be productive and not kill yourself or tire yourself out completely. So I think for us, it's obviously easier. And I'm hoping the rest of the team will take that serious and, make sure you go on a walk with your dog or you just do the smallest little thing because it does make a difference.
How good were her passes today?
Man, I know my point guard gonna give me the ball. For real though, I tell people this all the time ever since she came here as a sophomore, like she's honestly one of the best passers I've ever played with. And I've played with Dee Richards, I played with all of them. Like it's not like I haven't played with some great players, but she's gonna get the open person the ball and she's really good at distributing the ball.
Thank you.
Cool. Thanks, ladies.
That's my
Thank
point
you.
guard.
Merry Christmas.
Oof, let me get up slow.